I'd say I'm a little bit of a menace, you know, like I can come out and give them a little bit of talk if they want it, you know what I mean? I would definitely like to be a captain. Obviously I never did that for like football, I never was a captain, but definitely like if I got the opportunity I'd love to, you know, lead your team out there. I think it would be a massive new. WCG, Backyard Cricket England are coming for you and we're going to win. Bring it on.
Yes! Backyard Cricket England is now in partnership with Telsa Media, a digital marketing agency with offices both at home in the UK and abroad. For all your digital business needs, call 0203 322 3098, email hello@telsamedia.com or visit www.telsamedia.com. Backyard Cricket England, now proudly sponsored by Telsa Media. Hello, and welcome back to the BCE Get to Know podcast, where we are speaking to all the players who are going on the first ever Backyard Ashes Tour of Sydney, Australia later this year. And if you've seen our channel, you'll know the latest player to have been announced is my guest today, the youngest member of our Ashes Tour to Australia. It's Mr. Conor Arnold. Conor, thank you for coming. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So how's everything going? You alright? Looking forward to it?
Ready for it.
So where are we at with the trip then? Nerves kicked in yet or anything? Or is it just excitement? How are we feeling at the minute?
Excited. It's quite like a month away, so yeah, getting ready for it now.
Yeah, so obviously we don't know exactly when this is going to go to air, but at the time of recording we're about 2 months away from the series happening, a little over 2 months away, and it is getting to that point now where the club season's starting to end a little bit. Everything's been booked, flights, accommodation. We're getting to the point where we can just start to get a little bit of butterflies now. Yeah, training's underway as well. So how are we feeling? Is it excitement at the minute, any nerves, or is it just probably one? Because you said to me off camera when we got here, you just said to me you wish it was sooner. Yeah,
I do wish it was sooner. You know, end of October, still a little way away. So, you know, I'm ready for it now. A couple of weeks. I wish it was, but yeah, we'll be there soon enough.
Fighting to get there.
Yeah, 100%. A little bit nervous. You know, Australians are pretty good.
Yeah, so let's talk about them then. So how familiar are you with the WCG? Have you been a fan of their channel, or is it something new to you?
No, it's obviously like recently, like I've looked at their Instagram page and obviously they've got quite a few followers, so I've looked at their YouTube channel as well. They've got a big following on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's like recently, only ever since I've been asked to come, I've had a look at all their socials and
stuff. So you weren't maybe too familiar with them before we invited you onto the trip?
No, I didn't even know what backyard cricket was.
So the whole concept is new to you. The whole thing is new. So this is fantastic then. What a way to start. You're going to be debuting. Obviously people who have watched our channel may not recognise Conor because he's not played in any of our domestic games as of yet. So it'll be new for you. Your whole backyard debut is going to be at the WCG.
Yeah, what a way to do it.
Which, what a way to start that is start at the top immediately, and you're going to be an international cricketer.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Crazy. Going abroad to play cricket, couldn't ask for much more really.
It is fantastic. And again, we're just talking about WCG then, so you're sort of new into it and just getting to know their channel. How much of it have you seen? Have you sort of been watching it religiously or just here and there?
No, I've just seen a few clips on their Instagram. Obviously they play quite a lot. They're always playing teams in Australia, but I haven't really seen them play many other abroad teams.
They've only played one. They've played an international series against New Zealand, which was in 2019, I think. But quite a few years ago, they played a series with a team from New Zealand that flew over, and they've played one game against the Barmy Army, which is I think it was a team of English people who live in Australia, so not technically an overseas team tour. It was, and they didn't play as England, they played as a Barmy Army, but other than that it's their own sort of domestic setup and their own sort of thing. And obviously brilliant concept, brilliant venue. That venue is something else. It is. Wouldn't it be great to have one of them over here?
It is insane. Someone should do it. Someone should do it to the back garden.
Well, I can say, I'm not going to say too much about this, because this is an announcement for after the Ashes series, so we're not going to get into this in too much detail, but I will just drop a little hint here and say that there are talks in place to get that started.
No way.
But that's all I'll say on that.
Wow.
There we go,
you heard it here first.
Well, the difficulty with doing it over here is that Australia has two advantages that England doesn't have, which is good weather. And the fact that there's just more space. Obviously in London and sort of where we are in the southeast, everyone's sort of all the houses cluttered together, everyone living on top of each other. Nobody really has big backyards anymore.
And I think the British persona, maybe the neighbours won't be too happy.
Yeah, exactly, A lot of grumpy neighbours is a common. I don't know if that's the same in Australia, but it's definitely a thing over here. Nobody's in a good mood today. But we are. And we will be when we go. So who's impressed you from the WCG? Have you had time to sort of look at any specifically of their players?
I haven't seen any of their players. Obviously, I've seen they've got a few good batsmen that I've been seeing, but obviously I don't really know their names and stuff. But
yeah, so obviously the names really worth getting familiar with will be the captain and the vice captain. So the captain, when we go out there, the captain of the Australia team is going to be Brendan Scott, who is one of their batsmen, one of the best players they've got to offer. Brilliant, and a brilliant guy. He's been our main contact with organising all this. So thank you, Brendan, if you're watching it. He's been fantastic. And obviously WCG, the White Cricket Ground. Matt White is his house. He's the vice captain. Fast bowler, and we don't know too much about his history, but I understand he did used to play at a really high level.
He's decent.
I think he was like a grade cricketer or something, so he's somebody to watch out for. But like we said again off air, we were chatting, saying the main thing is win or lose, we're there to have a cracking time.
We are.
And we are really looking forward to it. So is this going to be your first time in Australia?
It is.
First time going there at all for anything. So what are you looking forward to about the country then? I mean, obviously aside, we know what we want from the cricket, but what are you looking to get from the trip?
Definitely a lot of exploring. You know, it's a massive country, so I think renting a car probably the main thing, and just going who knows where. It's going to be.
Yeah, and we will have a lot of off days when we're there. It's a long tour, 3 weeks we're going to be out there for. So there's so much to see and do, especially in Sydney, which
the beaches, quite a few beaches,
the beaches,
national parks.
Yeah, so much to see and do.
Yeah.
And we will try and get as much of it in as we can, but it's worth mentioning that all the talk has been about the cricket and the Ashes and what this is going to mean for backyard cricket, what it's going to mean for us and our team and the WCG. But what it means outside of cricket, this is just Australia, such a great trip to do. Even if you're not going to play cricket, it's still just such a great holiday, which is so exciting for all of us.
Yeah.
And
you've not been before?
No, I've not been. So there's, I think, 2 players in our team who have been already.
Yeah.
And I think both been to Sydney. And obviously come back hugely recommended.
Yeah.
Which is obviously, we'll take their word for it. So
you know, if I think where I would want to go, if I was going to pick any countries, I think Australia would be the top one. If I could pick
number one,
I reckon it would be.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be far off saying the same as well, because it's just brilliant, isn't it? And obviously the culture there, and the Aussies seem like a great bunch of guys. We're really looking forward to meeting them. So let's talk about our team then. We'll forget about the Aussies. We'll forget about the future Ashes runners-up. And let's talk about the future Ashes winners. Obviously, you've been getting to know our team, so you are in kind of a unique position in that you haven't really known many of our team. No. The team itself is quite new to you. How have you found it, meeting all the lads, getting involved, the people that you didn't know already? How has it been?
No, it's been great. Everyone's been so welcoming. I've only had one training session, and Ricky has helped me get in and get involved, and so hopefully a few more training sessions will be getting to know
a few more training sessions and possibly a few more drinking sessions as well.
Exactly.
To bond in. Any players impressed you on our team? Obviously, you've had a session, had a look at everyone now. Was there anyone who stood out to you that you thought, he's dangerous? Or?
Ricky, his bowling is pretty up there.
Yeah. It's amazing to think he doesn't bowl in club cricket.
No way.
He's a wicket keeper.
Really?
And when he does bowl, he bowls spin.
Yeah.
And then you see him in the backyard cricket pelting him down.
He absolutely pelts him.
Becomes an animal when he's got that ball, doesn't he? So he's impressed, obviously. That's a very smart thing to say because he's your captain as well. Sensible. You can butter him up. Do that in your own time. Anybody else anyone else that you thought was maybe pretty sharp?
There was one spin bowler, I can't remember his name though. Obviously, I don't really know everyone's names.
Would that be Gurpaul?
Gurpaul
Singh. Yeah, spinner. He's been looking good.
Yeah, a few times tried to come down the wicket, completely missed it. He's had me there.
Yeah, he's been looking good, and that's nice because having spin gives you a little extra dimension. And Australia have got a spinner in their team as well, Josh Bolling. So it'll be nice to see that little battle between them. So where do we think this series is won and lost then? What do you think going into this series? Who do you? Let's start with saying who do you make the favourites for the series?
I'd have to say Australia, right? Just because it's their home turf. I'd have to say they're the favourites. I think we are the underdogs.
Yeah, and they've been doing it a lot longer than we have as well. We've been doing this 3 years. They've been doing it, I think, about 10.
Okay.
And there you go. They've got the home advantage, and they will have a crowd as well.
Yeah.
There will be a lot of Australians shouting horrible things at us for the tour, which again we're looking forward to. It should be fun. So how do you see it with the matchup between teams? Obviously you've not seen a huge amount of the WCG and not a huge amount of us, but is there anything that immediately stands out to you as a big difference between the teams?
No, I don't think there is. I think we're going to be a good batting side, but I just think us getting used to all the. Obviously, I know the rules. now, but like obviously I didn't know them beforehand, and like making sure you keep it down and stuff like that.
Yeah, how's that been? Because it's quite, if you've not played it before, it's quite a confusing, obviously can't get out LBW if you're playing the shot, can't hit it over the fence.
Yeah, different rules.
Kind of thing.
No, different rules. It definitely changes the dynamics of like normal cricket for me. But yeah, just getting used to that and keep getting your head over the ball and keeping it down. It's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, it will be, because we all want to. You see that ball come up, and with a tennis ball, you think, "Oh, putting this over the roof."
Yeah.
If you put it over the roof, you're gone.
You're gone. Yeah.
So, does it change your game at all? Then, would you say there's going to be any changes between the way you would play a normal cricket game and the way you'd play a backyard game?
Yeah, because obviously, like when I used to play at school, all we used to play is like T20 games, and you'd be like trying to hit it, like just go in, smack it. If you're out, you're out. I feel like this here, you know, it's a bit more conservative. Like you've got to like really like strategize and know what you're doing before you go in.
Yeah, and obviously we've got a test, so it's not just a case of limited overs and having a slog. There is a test match where you have so much time.
Exactly. Yeah.
As well, and obviously the bowling as well. How have you found the bowling? Because we were quite impressed with your bowling in the training so far.
That's surprising. How
have you found? Do you normally bowl when you play normal?
No.
How do you see yourself as a club cricketer?
So when I used to play, I wouldn't bowl. Like sometimes I would wicket keep. I was like standing wicket keeper, and I'd just be like, I was a pretty good fielder, so I wouldn't really like bowl.
So this is sort of new to you in that sense.
Yeah. New bowler, but obviously like you have to pitch it up, or pitch it, like change the length that you're bowling.
Yeah, because we're also playing on a short pitch.
Exactly. Yeah. So you have to change it in that respect.
And how have you found that adjustment? Obviously it's difficult for everyone, and a lot of us when we first started playing struggled a bit as well. But like I say, in the training session we were impressed with how quickly you seemed to pick it up. Did you feel that as well?
I did. I felt like towards the end of the session I was definitely getting the hang of it. You know, and like bowling a few better balls, and like even the batsman was saying, you know, that's a good delivery. Why have you turned it up now? Because at the start I was getting
this to me actually.
Yeah,
I think you bowled at somebody else and they whacked you for a couple, and then you came on at me and cleaned me up.
It was like, where's this come from? But yeah, I was definitely getting used to it at the end of the session.
And when you think about the fact that obviously, like we say, we've still got sort of 2 or 3 months till we go, there will be a lot more training sessions. Where do you sit with it at the minute? Are you confident that with more sessions, with more sort of exposure to the group and to the way we're going to do things, you feel like you'll be ready, you'll be in a position ready when we go?
Yeah, definitely. I think with like consistent training and, you know, definitely a few more sessions and I'll be ready to go.
Yeah, so you mentioned obviously school cricket would be your most recent, so you're not playing for a club side at the moment.
No.
When would be, you've just come back from university, just graduated I think only a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Were you playing any cricket for the uni at all?
No, I didn't play for uni. The last time I played was in sixth form. We played for Merstham. I played for like maybe 1 season. That was in sixth form, so that's maybe 3-4 years ago now.
Yeah, so it's been a little while.
Yeah.
And obviously Merstham, just for people who don't know, in the area where we are, sort of south east London kind of area, Merstham is quite a big, quite reputable, decent local club. And I believe that's where you met Anthony Mapleston.
Yeah, well he went to my secondary school, but then
so you guys were, so did you know each other from school before cricket?
Yeah, we met in secondary school.
And obviously then that friendship's formed, and Anthony is a part of our Ashes squad, which is obviously great for you and great for him because there's more familiarity with somebody there.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, like you said, we're all trying to make you both as welcome as possible and as part of it as possible, but it is nice to have that there. How has it been playing with him? Because again, he was another we were very impressed by. Let's talk about him a little bit. What do you make of him as a player? What are you excited to see from him when we get out there?
His bowling's good, his batting is questionable, that's what I think. But yeah, he was always like our top bowler, so you know, impressed by his bowling.
We were as well. He looks a player, and obviously we're really excited to have you both on board. What made you? Was it Anthony that asked you to come? Was he the one who really sort of persuaded you to get on board with this?
Sort of. He explained like the ins and outs of it, and he was like, there is a spot, and I was like, I'm definitely in. So he was the one that kind of like let me know. And told me about it.
Obviously, speaking to the group and our players that are already a part of it and that have been doing it for a long time, before you'd even trained, before we'd even met you, a lot of our team were immediately impressed with the fact that you put yourself in that position without having played it before, without knowing a lot of people in the team. Obviously, good friends with Anthony, but not knowing too many other people. To immediately go and just look at the video and go, yeah, I want to be a part of that. I'm coming.
Yeah.
Just tell us about that. What made you do that? What made you take the lead?
And I was just like so surprised. And I remember telling everyone at uni, I was like, oh, I've got an invitation to like go and play backyard cricket. And then one of my mates at uni was like, no way, you're lying. Like, I watched these people. Like, I know.
So he knew them?
Yeah, someone at uni knew them. And was like, you have to go. Like, this is like a one in a lifetime opportunity. And I was like, I'm going to have a look, but it definitely sounds good.
Well, that's amazing, to be fair. That's great. And you've got that bit of authority then. Now that he knows the channel, you can kind of write that and go, yeah.
Exactly. He was like, I wish it was me going. I was like, unfortunately not.
Well, if anybody pulls out, tell him he can come. And were there any doubts at all? Was there anything you were sort of nervous about, or was it just totally 100%? I mean, I want to do this.
I did have some sort of doubts of like how long I'd been playing cricket, and obviously I hadn't been playing recently, so I was wondering like, would I be good enough? And obviously like the standard that you guys were playing at, I was like, oh, I could be in trouble, but. Yeah, I think like after seeing everyone and Ricky was like, oh, you'll be all right. Like,
after realising we're actually all rubbish.
I don't want to say
it. Yeah, not great. No, that's brilliant, and obviously we were so grateful for you for taking the leap of faith and doing it. Because, like I say, a lot of our team before they'd even met you were impressed by that, just plunging. Because there were people we'd asked who we've known for years that didn't really want to do it, and aren't coming.
Really.
So to have you there and complete the squad is fantastic. Yeah. So let's talk about your game a little bit then. So we'll go right back to the start and sort of work our way forwards. How were you introduced to cricket? Is it something from the family, or was it more a school thing, friends? How did you sort of get into the game?
Definitely school. So I started in year 6, I think. We had this coach come in about year 6, and we just played like small-sided games. This was in primary school, so obviously still like young, like 12, 12, and he got me into it. And then it was funny because then I went to secondary school and carried on playing cricket, and the coach from my primary school was actually the coach. He'd gone to my secondary school, so he'd come in.
As well.
Yeah, so it was exactly the same guy. So yeah, and then we just went from there, year 7 straight to year 12, and then I kind of stopped in year 12 after a traumatic moment of cricket, and I couldn't handle it after that.
Are we going to get into this? Is this a story for the
camera?
Oh, let's hear it then. Let's hear it. So what age were we talking? So 12 is what, about 15, 16?
So we're in year 11. That's like 16.
Yeah,
I think so, yeah. And we were in a Shield final. Yeah, and I was batting like I was like one of the last in the order, or the last. And then the coach asked me to step in. And I went in, and then he was like, "Oh, we've got no hope now. Like, Conor's going in. We needed like 45 runs to win, and it's in like the final." And he was like, "Oh, we've got no chance. We've lost." So then I was like really upset going in. And I went in, had like the best innings of my life. We needed 4 runs to win, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to smack it for 4. Top edged it, caught, and I genuinely just like broke down because we never won any trophies at school before. So yeah, it would have been our first.
But they would never even have got that close if it weren't for you having such a great innings.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah,
you made it closer for everybody.
And,
So if we get into that situation in Australia, last game of the Ashes,
I'm not going to try
series on the line, 4 to win off 1 ball, you'll be out going for a bit of blood, won't you?
Yeah,
a bit of revenge. The Aussies are going to feel the force of that revenge.
Yeah, exactly that. And I'll be thinking back to that game, and I'll be thinking, this is where I change it and make up for it. 100%.
That's what we want to hear. I love that. So obviously the traumatic school experience that comes at sort of 16. What age were you when you got into the game? Did you start playing straight away and then become a fan, or were you like a fan at home first?
I definitely started playing and then became a fan. I didn't watch much cricket.
Was there any cricket in the family? Is like parents?
My dad used to play cricket, so I played with him at Merstham as well.
So that's how you found Merstham. Yeah, from him.
Yeah, he played with me there. He used to play when he was younger. So he was alright, I think.
Who's better?
Definitely me.
You're better than him? Yeah, alright, fair. I hope he's watching this as well. I don't believe him. If you're watching Mr. Arnold, I definitely am. So, and going back to a fan, did you get into it as a fan? Did you watch a lot of cricket, or was it more of a sort of playing social thing for you? Would you say you were a cricket fan as well as a player when you were younger?
I didn't really watch much when I was younger, but like I'd always watch like the big tournaments, and like I'd try and like stay like in tune. I'm a massive sports fan, so like any like massive tournament I'd definitely be watching.
So are we talking just sort of limited overs, or would it be like sort of things like the Ashes as well, or was it more sort of 2020, 20 World Cups? And
yeah, World Cups I think and stuff like that. I don't think I'd be watching like the Ashes, but yeah, I didn't really watch much when I was younger.
So because you're obviously, like we said at the start, the youngest player coming in, so you are sort of from that T20 generation that broke through after the IPL started and all that.
Yeah.
So who would your did you have any sort of heroes? Were there players you really admired? Because I'm thinking back to my childhood, and my heroes would have been sort of test players.
Yeah.
People who were famous for test cricket.
No.
Did you have any, I'm guessing maybe it would be more 2020 players?
Yeah, like all I remember is like Bairstow's, like, obviously he's had so many good innings and like he's saved us so many times. And like, obviously he's probably my favourite player or the best player that I know.
And World Cup winner.
Exactly.
Yeah, as we might be as well, because let's not forget after the Ashes we've got the first ever backyard World Cup.
Yeah.
Be nice to emulate Bairstow, get our hands on that trophy, wouldn't it?
Stokes, yeah, Stokes as well. Stokes is a serious player, so them, yeah, definitely.
Yes. So obviously, yeah, like we say, maybe not much of a fan, but enjoying playing the game.
Yeah, 100%.
So you would have spent what, 4 or 5 years at Mernston?
I think it was only a couple.
Only a couple.
Only a couple, yeah. Like, yeah, I didn't play too much there, I don't think.
So most of your cricket would have been school cricket?
School cricket, yeah.
So that's
mainly the
obviously
main thing. Secondary school was like when I played every week.
What would have been the reason for that? Was it that it's more convenient hours, or did you have more friends in the team? How come it was more school than club kind of thing?
I think like education as well, like studies got in the way a little bit. I think I was obviously like studying hard, and that definitely like got in the way a bit. Like secondary school, you don't have to like work as hard, and I think towards sixth form it starts to get pretty difficult. And you know, like time sort of like gets short, so you need to focus on studies and stuff. And I think that was one of the main things.
So obviously, yeah, it sounds like obviously maybe someone like myself, I didn't care about the study. It didn't interest me, but that's obviously something that was important to you, and it's led to the recent graduation.
Yeah.
So let's get an idea of Conor Arnold, the athlete overall. Then, so you mentioned obviously big sports fan overall.
Yeah.
And I presume part of the reason maybe it might have been difficult to get into club cricket would be if you were doing other things, other sports. Just give us an idea, what kind of sports are you a fan of? Did you play a lot? Where are you still involved in? And give us an idea of that.
So I played football at uni. We were part of a six-a-side team.
So that was still ongoing?
That was still ongoing at university. And then I used to play Sunday League for like quite a while back in secondary school. So obviously that was another factor.
I'm thinking you're quite a short lad, so maybe nippy little winger?
I was actually a centre-back.
Centre-back? Oh, you weren't winning many headers.
No, I'm like a Martinez.
Alright, fair enough. He had a decent season, to be fair.
Yeah.
Alright, we got little Martinez over here. Well, is that still the case? Still a centre-back?
Well, I used to play centre-back and right-back, and so I'd rotate between them two positions, really.
Is that still the case?
Yeah, still at uni, I still played like in the...
So will you be playing when we come back from Australia? Is that still something you're looking for? Football and things?
Yeah, I think I'm going to, obviously I'm moved back home now from uni, so I think I'm going to try and join like a Sunday league.
Local team around here kind of thing. So what is the plan? The plan will be not to go back and live in Birmingham where you went to uni. No. You're looking to stay sort of...
Yeah, stay in London, yeah.
And stay close at the backyard cricket. So
exactly.
When we have our next domestic series, are we going to have you as a part of that? Will that be
definitely
for
if you want me?
Oh, of course we do. So that's it. So yeah, there we go. Stay tuned. He's coming, which is fantastic. Any other sports? At all? Any other sporting heroes as a kid or anything like that? Anything else you're into?
Tennis. I love a bit of tennis. Andy Murray, Wimbledon.
Yes, I
remember that memory.
Yeah, so that's what, 2012, I think, or 2013.
Yeah.
So how old would you have been then? Would that be like young enough for it to be?
Yeah, like 14.
No, so it is properly still childhood, yeah. And I presume what, still playing tennis? Do you play? Or is
I don't play tennis. I only watch it and watch the tournaments. But yeah, I do enjoy it. So there's again not really the ruined by the oil. There's another thing it's got in common with cricket. Ruined by the oil protesters again this year, wasn't it? That was a pain in the hole and everything, but... And the snooker got
and the snooker, yeah. What do you think the chances are when we play our backyard Ashes we're going to have a protest? I think
it's pretty high.
I'd actually count that as a bit of a win. We've made it. If you get an oil protester at our game, we've made it then, haven't we?
Yeah.
Any oil activists watching, get yourself out to Sydney, October, we want to see you there. Alright, ruin our Ashes, and we'll take
Just ask for the address and you get it.
WCG Sydney, get yourself out there. No orange powder though, don't ruin a picture. So, I mean, let's sort of talk about your game then. So you mentioned not much of a bowler.
No, not much
really too interested in bowling too much. So as a batsman, what kind of player are we talking? You've grown up in the 2020 age. Are we quite thinking aggressive?
Aggressive, yeah. I did used to be aggressive, you know. Not so much of a slogger. I like to still think I'm a bit tactical. But yeah, always a bit of power behind me. And,
give it a good clout. Yeah. So is that's going to be the approach in Australia? Is it try and give it a bit?
Yeah, but I'll tone it down a little bit.
Depends on what situation.
Exactly.
They get a chance to put them away. They're going to do the same to us.
Exactly.
Which is going to be fantastic. And you mentioned obviously the coach you had who went to both schools with you. Would he be the sort of big influence on your cricket life? We're just going to maybe use this as a little opportunity for you to shout out anyone you want to shout out.
Shout out Mr. Cody if he's watching this.
So would he be sort of the one big...
He got me into cricket, so he would be like the big figure.
So kind of a mentor kind of thing.
Exactly, and it was just crazy to see him like when I got into year 7, and he was like, "Oh, funny seeing you here." And he stayed the coach for quite a few years.
Looked after you, yeah.
Tried to teach me how to bowl, couldn't do it.
Well,
he said
we'll do that. He's done his bit. We'll take over from that and teach you how to bowl. And you mentioned obviously playing with your dad. How is that? Because I know people that have played cricket with their dads, and you get kind of a mixed reaction. Some people don't like it, and they just feel like it takes away from their independence. They kind of feel like, overshadowed. Some people really enjoy it. How was that for you? Is that quite a difficult thing?
I think it was difficult, because I think it was even worse than when he would come to watch me, because like when he came to watch me, I would still get nervous that I was like letting him down if I got out. So when he was playing with me, to be fair, I think it was a little bit better, because like I could like laugh at him if he was like trying to like get on to me about like getting out or something, and then he would go in and do exactly the same thing. It was better than having him just watching. So it was definitely a good thing.
Because I can relate to this to an extent. If you want to talk about nerves from him coming watching, how's this for you? My dad is an umpire, and I used to play a lot of games where I'd be batting, and he's at the other end. You want to talk about nervous? Can you imagine what that's like when he gives you out on a dodgy LB or a dodgy line, and he gives you out? God, there was some rough nights after cricket games in my house. I mean, it is funny the way the game goes like that, isn't it? But obviously, how have you found it then? Well, your dad presumably will be watching the Ashes series, will be tuning in, and presumably, obviously, really hoping for the best for you. How will it be for you? Is that something you'll think about that will help you or hinder you when we're out there? Are you going to be thinking, "Oh God, he's watching me"?
I'll enjoy it. I'll enjoy him watching me and like try and make a show for them and show them what I've got.
Almost inspiring.
Definitely inspiring,
And then any other family will be watching it? Have you got like brothers, sisters or anything?
I've got a sister, and I've told her about it. But obviously, I don't know about the time zone difference. It might be I don't know what time of the day we'll be playing.
It'll be sort of the middle of the night. I think when we start, it will probably be like 11, 12 at night UK time. But obviously, that's when it goes up live. The videos will come out after.
Exactly.
They'll go out and they'll be edited and put together, and then they'll go out again after. So they will be, might take a bit of time, might not be immediate, but after a few months, they'll all be up there.
So they'll definitely be watching. Mum and sister, definitely. I've told them about it, and
so they're buzzing as well. And then when you come home and show them that medal, it's going to be a special moment. And you play her in a series medal maybe as well. That will be a special thing, won't it?
That will be.
It is going to be great. I mean, we are really, really looking forward to this. It is, I mean, what would it mean to, where are you on this? Because obviously everybody's different, and everybody's got their own sort of way of thinking about the game and thinking about the trip and all this. Where do you sit with winning the series? Is that sort of the be all and end all, we must win, or is it you don't really mind if we win, it's just about having a good time? What would it mean to you if we were to come home with an Ashes medal?
It would mean a lot. Like, I'm a very competitive player.
It's not just going there for a bit of
it's definitely like serious. Like obviously I'm there for a little muck about when we're not playing like off the field, but as soon as we get on the pitch, it's
it's about the balance, isn't it? Because we want to be really, really competitive. We want the full Ashes experience from the Aussies. We want them to be aggressive with us and try their best to beat us, and I'm sure they want the same from us.
Definitely.
But then, like you say, off the pitch, it's gone. We have a beer with them, a laugh with them, a joke with them. We have a great time with them, and from what we know of them, obviously we don't know them hugely well, but the ones we've been speaking to, they seem like great guys. And they've been so good with us. And obviously, I mean, that's going to be the key, isn't it? Regardless of who wins and loses, we're going to have a great time.
Exactly.
So where is because we've got the Ashes, and then we've got the World Cup.
Is that against New Zealand?
Australia and New Zealand. It'll only be a 3-team World Cup, which is a shame. We'd like it to be a bit more, but it's only 3 teams can make it. Where do your priorities sit? If I said to you, you can only come home with one of those medals, do you want to be an Ashes winner or a world champion?
That's a good question. I think Ashes. I just think the Ashes is so big.
That's where I'm at.
Oh, you think that as well? I definitely think.
I mean, don't get me wrong, if we lose the Ashes and we win the World Cup, I will not complain. I'll absolutely take it. I mean, if we get both, that's a different story. If we get both, the bragging and the smugness when we get home is going to be unbearable. Our families will hate us if we win both.
I'm going to book another week in Australia and stay there for another week if we win both.
If we win both, I'm going to book a billboard in the middle of Sydney and we're going to have our photo on it saying we won them both. We will be unbearable if we win them both, I think. So the Ashes for you is more the priority. Why do you think that is? I mean, what's sort of the reason for that?
Maybe just recently watching the Ashes, I think maybe.
Yeah, because of the one we've just had. So you mentioned obviously not really a Test fan growing up.
Yeah.
How did you find that? Did you get into it? Like, was it?
Yeah, I was watching most days. Obviously, being at uni as well, I had quite a bit of spare time.
Quite a lot of
yeah. So I was loving watching it. Bit of a disappointment, I think.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shame. I mean, it depends how you look at these things.
Yeah.
But the main thing was that, again, win or lose, it was a brilliant series.
It was.
And was that your sort of first re-entry back into Test cricket then, or have you been watching Test cricket since you've been at uni or whatever?
No, I think that was like one of the re-entry. Like we used to watch it a little bit on TV, like because some of my mates at uni were cricketers, so they put it on the TV and they'd watch it. But yeah, definitely a re-entry point was the Ashes.
So it sounds like you were quite lucky at uni to be were they your sort of like dorm mates, housemates? So it's quite lucky in a sense to be chucked in with cricket fans.
Definitely.
Because I remember when I went to uni, nobody I met there gave the first clue, no one cared.
Yeah.
Which is obviously you end up, when you've got like an 8-hour Test match on all day, you want someone to sit and watch it with, you end up on your own all day because nobody cares.
No, we were lucky. We were lucky in that aspect. Everyone would just come down in the morning and we literally just set up on the whole day on the sofa and just watch the whole day.
Get the beers out, feed up and get the snacks in or pizzas or whatever.
And that was just amazing. Like, can ask much more,
So what did you think of watching it then? Who stood out for you in the Ashes? Obviously Bairstow was there again, the Stokes that you mentioned.
Broady retired. He was brilliant.
Did you manage to catch the last day where he took the last wicket?
Yeah.
That was brilliant, mate. Absolutely brilliant.
And then he went over to his family, didn't he, or something?
Yeah, that was brilliant.
What a moment.
What a guy. And the best thing about Stuart Broad is how much he winds up Aussies as well. They just don't like him. So how's that going to be for you then? What are we expecting from you in Australia? Are you the kind of player who sort of likes to keep your head down and do your own thing? Or are you going to be in the Aussies' face giving it
I wouldn't say that, but I'd say I'm a little bit of a menace, you know, like I can come out and give them a little bit of talk if they want it, you know what I mean?
So
maybe, is it small man syndrome?
We've got a few in our team walking that tightrope, but I'm looking at you, Ricky. So is it more of a case of like you won't start it, but if they start it, you ain't going to back down kind of thing? Because it is interesting to see how that goes. We don't know what kind of reception we're going to get from them. I presume it will be hostile.
I think it will.
Which I guess it depends on what you're like as a person. I personally love that, and I'm looking forward to that. Some players maybe will prefer to do it quietly.
Yeah. As long as it's not too aggressive and we don't start.
Yeah, as long as there's no personal.
Yeah, as long as it's reasonable
or anything. Yeah, as long as there's nothing silly being said, but it's part of the fun.
Exactly.
And so you're not going to be the kind of person who, if they get up into your face, you're going to.
No. I'll give it back to them.
Well, I dare say that will come up in the series. What you want to do is then not get out after you do that. Don't get out next ball. Mother of God. But it is going to be fantastic. And I mean, what are you looking forward to the most? Because we've got Test match, ODIs, 2020s, a whole lot of short games and things like this. Where do you think your skill set lies? What are you most sort of thinking you want to get your teeth into in terms of the format?
Just like getting used to like the style of play?
Yeah, so when we go out there, do you think you'll be at your best in the Test match or maybe in the shorter games? Like, where do you think?
I think the shorter games I'd probably be best.
So that's what you're sort of targeting?
I think so. Short games, getting runs quickly, I think.
Yeah, it takes a bit of pressure off you to score a bit freely.
Yeah.
Which obviously is what we're there to do.
Exactly.
It should be fun. So how do you think you'll get on in the Test match then? Because that's obviously something that is going to be new for you.
Yeah.
Have you ever played a 2 innings game before? This is like
Never.
This is going to be a sort of completely new kind of thing. So it's quite exciting. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I'm going to have to
adjust to do that.
I'm going to have to like rethink about how I play, I think. But yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Just strategizing and making sure that I know what I'm doing. Yeah.
Just making the right decisions and
exactly.
Just the main thing is having fun though, isn't it? As long as we're just enjoying it, you'll get runs or you won't, you'll get wickets or you won't. But if you're having fun, it's a good trip.
Yeah.
And that's all we can offer.
Exactly.
So we'll talk about the trip some more. Obviously, we've still got, I think, plenty of time left. Yeah, we're doing well for time at the minute here. So, in terms of the trip then, is there anything you're nervous about? Anything, obviously we don't want to reveal too many weaknesses in case the Aussies are watching this, but is there anything comfortable, anything you're comfortable sharing about, any nerves or anything that's sort of, maybe something that you're...
A little bit nervous about in front of the cameras and everyone watching, I think that is the main thing. But no, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Because I mean, we can sit here all day and we can say, oh, we're not nervous, we're so confident we're going to batter them, but we are human at the end of the day. I'm sure some of the Aussies are probably a bit nervous and excited as well, as we are. But obviously we've got the added thing of nerves about travelling, anyone who's maybe not a good flyer or anything like that, so there's all these kind of things that can come into it. But for you, obviously, it's more the cameras.
Yeah, definitely more the cameras.
Well, this is good practice for you.
Exactly.
Get used to this. You're going to be a superstar by the end of it. You've got to get used to the cameras.
You're a changed man.
You're going to have to get used to people stopping you in the street, autographs, the whole works, man. You're going to get used to it. So, yeah, I mean, it will be unique.
Yeah.
I mean, and obviously the goal is we would hope in time we can get the Aussies over here and make this a more sort of maybe every 3 or 4 years or something we can do a return series. Where do you think then, because obviously you mentioned that when you were invited to come on a trip, that was sort of the first you really knew of backyard cricket, full stop. Where do you think it can go? Have you got any opinions on what this series can do for backyard cricket and what you think the next step is? There anything you don't like about what you've seen in backyard cricket that you think should change? And how do you sort of see overall?
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's anything like I've noticed that's potentially like a bad thing about it. I haven't seen that, but I think it's obviously growing. It's definitely a growing thing, and yeah, it's definitely can go in the future. Definitely can grow very far. I think. Yeah, as more people get to know it.
And hopefully our Ashes will contribute to that, because we are expecting the series they had with New Zealand got, I think it's their most viewed video. A lot of views. Yeah, I think way more actually. Really. And we were chatting to a couple of the New Zealand guys, and they were saying like all of their social media profiles, their own personal Twitters and Facebooks and things just ballooned after that series. And ours being an Ashes will probably be bigger than that.
So my Instagram's going to be popping.
Oh, it's going to be popping.
Sweet.
Oh, do it for the gram, mate. Is that why you're coming? Or just doing it for the gram?
No, I promise.
Because that is wrong. No, but yeah, I mean, they said that ours will be bigger.
Really?
So it will be such a massive thing, and it's interesting to see what that will do to the game. I think personally the next step is Asia.
Really?
Because a lot of the India, Pakistan, places like that, they play tape ball cricket anyway. It just doesn't get filmed and go online.
Wow. Yeah,
so you know, once you can set that up, a lot of them grow up in sort of streets playing with tape balls and things.
Yeah.
So if we can start getting cameras onto that, it will just get bigger and bigger. And maybe next time we do a World Cup, it can be us, New Zealand, Australia, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. We've got a proper tournament.
Yeah.
Any countries you want to go to? If we said, right, we'll do this World Cup in Sydney, 3-4 years time we'll do another World Cup, where do you want that to be? You got your eyes on any fancy holidays anyway?
Caribbean, somewhere?
I'm thinking
Caribbean.
I'm thinking Caribbean.
Yeah.
But I have heard New Zealand is great as well.
Yeah.
I know, I've got mates who've been there and say it's fantastic, but Caribbean's got to be.
Caribbean, yeah.
Yes. That would be great. Imagine if we could get a West Indies team out there. That would be fantastic. That's got to be the next tournament. We'll find a team in the West Indies, see if we can get something going there. Maybe on a beach. Doesn't even have to be in a garden. We'll do beach cricket. That would be brilliant, wouldn't it? A bit of sunshine. And that's really, is that the goal for you? Are you looking to get into these long term? So if we were to say, 2 years time, 3 years time, we're going to go to the Caribbean, or we're going to go to New Zealand, or back to Sydney.
100%.
You in?
Yeah, definitely. I think we'll have to see how this first one goes, and fingers crossed we'll be alright, but I definitely...
So where your head's at the minute is this is not just a one and done holiday for you, and I'll go on holiday with these boys playing cricket and then I'm done. This is something...
This is just like a trial, like a tester, I think. This is like
so yeah, you're pretty much seeing this as kind of almost a warm-up in a way, and it is in itself quite a big stage, the biggest stage in backyard cricket there's ever been, this series. That's a good way to start.
Yeah.
Which is
being the youngest on the team as well, I think.
Yeah, who is younger? Because you and Anthony will be quite close together.
He actually is younger than me.
So actually, you're alright. We'll scrap the whole year's ruined. We'll scrap that. He's not the youngest. He's just one of the middle pack like the rest of us.
I'm an old man.
So Anthony's the younger one.
He is the younger one. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously that would be great for you guys as well, wouldn't it? And it's nice for us to have a bit more youth in the team, because the age range of us is a lot closer than the Aussies. They've got players who are sort of, they've got a couple of youngsters as well, like early 20s, but some of their players are sort of, I think Brendan is about 34, 35. They've got some in their 40s and things, I think maybe 50. So they've got a bigger age range, whereas our oldest player, I think, is about 34. So do you see that as a... How do we look at that then? Because that could mean that gives us more energy.
Have a mix, yeah, definitely. You want a mix.
But on the other hand, it means they've got a lot more experience.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's why I think you need a few younger players and a few older players, the experience, and they can kind of like nurture us and then bring us up.
Yeah, that's what we're here for, and that's helpful. And how do you find that with you and Anthony then? Would you be more comfortable coming into our team if we were all sort of 21, 22? Or is it easier for you coming in with most of us being sort of late 20s, early 30s? Does that make it easier for you now that there's a bit more experience?
Definitely, because like I feel like if you're experienced, then you can kind of like teach us. Like it's nice having Anthony obviously because he's the same age as me.
Yeah, obviously you don't want to be the only.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you have all like 30-year-olds and experienced players. Like, I think it's really good to have.
Yeah, and we've got a mix of players who have done a lot of different things. I think is obviously we don't know what the Aussie stories are and what they've done in the game, but for us, we've got players who have done things with the bat, ball, captain in the field, wicket keeper. We've got sort of all different clubs, different levels, and all this. So there is a lot of experience in the group. So is that something you'll be leaning on? Is that something you'll sort of be looking to attack over the next couple of months before we go?
Yeah, definitely learn it from the best. I think is what we do.
I might put it when I do the editing. I'm going to put that big language on the screen. The best.
That is it.
So yeah, I mean, obviously it is great knowing. I think for you guys, you and Anthony, that if there is anything you need, you only need to send us a text.
Exactly.
There's no problems, nothing that's an issue or anything. If you're worried about anything, you need help with anything, you can just text us. And where you mentioned sort of the environment, you said you felt welcomed and felt into it. Once you did get into your stride, then obviously the initial part is just welcoming you, getting you involved. Once you did get into your stride, what did you make of the environment? How do you think the atmosphere in the team is?
It was great. I think everyone obviously knew each other quite well, and everyone went for a pint afterwards. Obviously, we couldn't be there, unfortunately, but
but you obviously had things to do, and
exactly.
Graduation and things going on, so you had a decent excuse to miss the
everyone
pint. But the next time, we are expecting to put some beers down here. And and obviously you get to know everyone off the pitch as well as on it and outside of the training environment. But there are some great characters. What do you remember about the team from the ones you've met so far? Because there's some quite interesting characters in our team. Did you get a chance to chat to? Who did you sort of get a chance to speak to?
I find it quite surprising that who was having a drink, someone bought like a pint and was having a drink. That was you joined in.
Yeah, who was that? I can't remember who that was now. Was that Jake or
I think it was Jake.
I can't remember who that was. Jake is a different kind of guy. I don't know if you got a chance to speak to him much when you met him, but he is a really unique kind of guy.
No, he was funny bloke.
Oh, he is. He's a brilliant bloke, Jake. Absolutely. You'll love him. The Aussies, I personally think he will be the Aussies' favourite out of us lot when we go. He'll be the one they will love. Him and Crowther, I think. But he's a brilliant guy as well. And them two know each other, they go back a long way. It's just, there's some weirdos in our team. But I hope your parents aren't watching what I'm saying. There's some nutters in our team, but we'll keep him safe.
But it's a good way.
In a good way. It's safe nutters. We'll keep him safe. He'll be alright. Yeah, I mean, so how are you finding the sort of social side of it? Is that something you're looking forward to in Australia as well? Because obviously we can't drink on the match days when we've got games the next day, but we are out there with so many free days. There will be lots of social things. How will that be for you? Do you like being a big group of people, or are you more sort of you just want to keep your head down, be quiet? And
we're gonna go out. We're gonna have a great time. We're gonna go clubbing, hit a few clubs up.
Oh yeah, we are. It is gonna be. I mean, it's just gonna be brilliant, isn't it? And obviously, in terms of the characters in our team, you have got Ricky, who you've gotten to know in recent months. He's the captain. He's the one who sort of really brought you in and made you a part of it.
Yeah.
What have you made of him so far? I mean, just as a person, as a captain. Obviously, you mentioned as a player, he looked good.
Yeah,
he was. As a player. But what have you made of him as a guy?
He seems like a great leader. Obviously, he knows what he's doing. I don't know who does the training sessions. Obviously, I don't know if he organises it and knows what we're doing. But we got there and we had a few drills to do. Like, he obviously seems like he's been doing it for a while. And
so that's obviously. Yeah, well, I mean, we kind of split duties on that. So I mean, Ricky plays a huge role in
organising it.
And obviously he is the main reason this series is happening. More than anybody else on our side or on the Aussie side, Ricky is the main reason this tour is happening, and we owe him for that.
So a massive thank you to Ricky.
And I will say, obviously, you mentioned he seems like a good guy and he seems like he's been doing this a long time. I will just let you know you are wrong about all of that. He is a crap dude. Awful cricketer, the worst guy I've ever met. In an ideal world, I wish he was. Sorry, Rick. That's me, batting at 11.
That's your boy.
That's me, I'm at 11, so that's it. I'm on the bench now. No, he is. He's been fantastic, and we do owe him for that. And it is such a lot of work. People don't realise it work. It's taken us 4 years.
I can imagine, 4
years it's taken to do this, and we're still not done. 2 months out from the trip, there's still stuff to do, which is quite a heavy workload. How would you find that stuff? How do you see is your long-term future in backyard cricket to be a player or get involved in all of this leadership?
I think I'd like to do a little bit, like do my part, like contribute.
How would you feel? I mean, is captaincy something that's ever appealed to you? If the chance came up in a couple of years' time in our domestic series to captain one of the teams, is that something you've ever really wanted, or is that something you prefer sort of not to have to do?
No, I would definitely like to be a captain. Obviously, I never did that for like football. I never was a captain, but definitely if I got the opportunity, I'd love to. Lead your team out there. I think it would be a massive new thing.
Obviously you don't have to be a captain to be a leader anyway.
Exactly.
We all do our bit for that. So, because what I'm getting, the reason I asked that question is throughout this interview and the time we've been speaking, a lot of things have cropped up, and the vibe that keeps coming up for me is that you like a challenge.
Yeah.
Every time we say something, what did you think about Australia when you first saw it? I want to go.
Yeah.
You know, what do you think about the bowling? I'm going to give it a go. Yeah. What did you think about this? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And you know, would you want to be a captain? Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah. You tend to just jump.
I do. I do. Yeah. I just think it's my competitive nature. Like, I genuinely just like, if something's handed to me, I'll just like grab it and just like.
So where does that come from? Do you think?
I think it comes from my mum.
Parents the same? Is that sort of something you picked up from her?
Yeah, definitely. She's very competitive and like, you know, she always stands her ground, and yeah, she's very strong.
So when these videos go up and your parents are watching our series, would it be fair to say your dad will be the one sort of hoping that you get on well, hoping you enjoy yourself, hoping you have fun, and your mum will be the one throwing cans at the TV saying beat them Aussies up and batter them?
Exactly that. Yeah.
That's a fair way.
Yes.
Which is fantastic, and obviously, yeah, like I say, it sounds like you've really picked that up for a challenge. I mean, how do you get in a mindset? Because a lot of players are sort of the opposite. A lot of players prefer to just be given a job and quietly get on with it.
Yeah.
How do you find them challenges? If you were to jump head first into a challenge and sort of not do well at it, how would you react to that? How would you find that? Have you got any experiences of sort of diving into something head first and then landing flat on your face?
I think just learning. Like, if you fail, then you've just got to learn from what you've done. And obviously, I talked about that cricket thing. That I talked about that memory. But it's obviously just learning from it and just like improving on your game. And that's the main thing for me. Just learning on mistakes. Yeah,
so I mean, because obviously things might come up in the series where we might end up in a situation where you need to say, I don't know, bowl the last over and they need 10 to win or something like that. And it sounds like in that position, you're not going to be someone who's scared of that.
No, I'd do it 100%.
That would be, which is fantastic stuff. I mean, and I like that attitude as well. It reminds me of, like, obviously I'm a Chelsea fan and Frank Lampard.
Yeah.
He had a quote once, I remember, where he was doing an interview and he said, if you jump, a net will appear. So basically just take the risk and a net will just appear under you and you'll land safe, if you just go head first into it. So would it be fair to say that's kind of your attitude?
Definitely. Yeah. I learned from Frankie.
Yeah, mate. Who are you?
I'm Palace fan.
And we'll cut that interview, we're done. Right, bit him off.
Big season ahead. I said it first.
You mean next year in the championship?
Oh!
Big season ahead, yeah. Relegation battle in the championship next year.
Europa League.
Europa League, he said. Europa League, wow. Whoa. What's more likely? We win the Ashes and the World Cup, or Palace get Europa League this year?
Well, we're winning the Ashes, so.
Oh, you reckon that's a foregone conclusion?
Yeah.
What would you rather? We win the Ashes and the World Cup, or Palace win the Premier League this year? And I will judge you by this answer. Just bear in mind, the ticket on the flights can easily be ripped up.
I'm going to have to say Ashes and World Cup.
That's the correct answer. And I definitely didn't force you to say that at all.
No.
That's such a stupid question.
Win the Premier League.
Palace to win the title, do an extra, win yourself the title, or you can be top run scorer and win the Ashes.
Top run scorer.
100%. So just so you know then, I'll put this question to you as well. When Australia played New Zealand in their series, the highest score in that series was Matt White, the vice-captain. He made 91.
Wow.
And that is therefore the highest score between two international sides in backyard cricket.
Yeah, is that a lot? 91? That's quite big, isn't it?
I mean, it's not bad.
Yeah.
So that, I guess therein comes the question then. You got...
Someone's going to be
You
here.
fancy that?
I fancy it.
Fancy a bit of that? I fancy it, right? There's a few people in our team who are quietly looking at that, thinking they might... There's players in our team who are thinking the first ever international ton in backyard cricket. If you're arguing that, do you think that's achievable?
I think so. Anything's achievable.
From what you've seen of their videos and the sort of venue and all that, do you think it's more of a batsman's game or a bowler's game? Like, what do you think is that's easier? Obviously, they're both difficult for different reasons. But what do you think is the easier of the two?
I think it is easier to bat.
In this type
I think it is, this type of cricket. I think because bowling is just like you bowl one wrong ball and then you're going to be hit for 6.
Yeah,
I guess that's kind of like the same in normal cricket. But
yeah, it kind of goes. That's why it's a difficult thing to work out, because the hard thing as a batsman is that you've got a shorter pitch and a taped up tennis ball will never stop swinging.
And it just moves. Yeah, that's one thing.
But on the flip side of that, because it's small in a backyard, you've only got to get a chunk on it. You haven't got to middle it. Yeah. And you'll probably get a 4 if you pick a gap. So it kind of is that balance. So you would say you found sort of the batting easier. Obviously, you are a batsman anyway.
Yeah, I think so. The batting is definitely easier. than the bowling. I think just getting the length right of bowling is something you just takes practice. I think.
I mean, it is one of them, and getting control of that swing, because obviously it feels, you think it's going to be great, the ball that swings everywhere, but when you first start, it swings too much and you can't control it, and then it goes all over the place. But again, you and Anthony cope with that really well. I don't recall either of you really chucking anything in the side of the net or anything.
Started off with a full tape ball, it's definitely easier just to get the length.
Yeah, it's a smarter idea to get the feel with one that's going to move less, but obviously those balls have different attributes in themselves. What did you make? Did you, obviously it was your first time, but did you notice any big difference between the half tape ball and the full tape ball?
Definitely. The half tape obviously swings a lot more, but I think the full one just goes a lot quicker. You know, I think when you're batting you realise that as well.
I think because there's obviously that one being fully taped, there's a little more weight behind it, so it does tend to skid a little bit more. And obviously the half tape one is just if you're facing someone like Jake, I don't know if you faced Jake when you were batting.
He was good.
He swings a normal cricket ball further than anyone I've ever played with. You give him a half tape tennis ball, it's almost going backwards at that point.
He was swinging it.
He is lethal, and I was really excited to see how he does that there. Who would you say, if I said to you now, one player from our team who you would be a little dark horse for anyone watching, who in our team are you backing for, other than yourself?
Yeah.
From what you've seen of our team, who are you backing as a little player to watch, a big series? You think Gurps?
Yeah, Gurps.
Yeah,
definitely.
Get that spinner, and
I think so.
and a very good batsman as well.
Yeah.
Likes to attack.
Yeah.
He doesn't care much for defending, Gurps.
Really?
Likes to have a go, and if he gets going, he's the type of player, he won't get runs in every game.
He's a bit of a hidden gem, I think.
Yeah, I think he's one of them. He won't get runs in every game because of the way he plays, but if he does get going, he can win you a game in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's just done with him because he just is so explosive, and obviously you were impressed by him as a bowler.
Yeah. I think he's got pretty well rounded then.
Oh yeah, he's a fine player, and a good fielder. Well. Good fielder as well.
Because that's one thing I you kind of forget about, isn't it? The fielding. I think you focus on bowling and batting.
The thing is, because the pitch is so small, everyone kind of just thinks, it's the batting and the bowling. Nobody really pays attention.
Kind of neglect the fielding,
But it is important. And how do you see that then? What do you think is going to be important in the fielding out there? Is there one thing or a couple of things you've really feel, I need to make sure I'm doing this or whatever?
Yeah, I think definitely fielding I'm going to work on, because obviously at school I'd be really good, that's what I back myself on, was my fielding, my catching ability.
So do you prefer being close in, or when you play normal games, do you prefer doing the running out and boundary?
No, so I prefer being close in. So
which is ideal in a back garden.
Exactly.
Because there's no other else to be other than close in.
So that's definitely one of my strengths, is I think just being able to be there and catch the ball. Definitely.
Yeah, just getting away at boundaries as well. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It's almost like
putting your heart on the line. Do you know what I mean?
It's almost in a way. It's less like being a fielder and more like being a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't really matter how you stop it. Just treat your area of the field as a little goal and don't let that ball through it. Exactly. And if you use your feet or your head, whatever, fine. Just get away with it, basically. And it could be so important. And the Aussies are obviously a really good fielding side. So we need to match that. How do you think we're all going to cope? Because the one thing we can't train for, and the one thing there's nothing we can really do about, is the heat.
The heat.
And it's a long series, lots of games, thick and fast, out there fielding. Now obviously you can roll on and roll off, so luckily you don't have to be on the field for the entire time. But how do you think you're going to cope with that? Because that is something that we can't really practice for. We can't, again, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, it's rain, we're middle of August, it's raining again outside at the minute. How do you think we're going to get on with that?
I think as long as we've got some sun creams, the factor 50, we'll be alright.
Are you more of the, during the game it'll be bottles of water, lots of rehydration, or is it more during the game, give me the beers?
I think the beers will help, definitely get a bit of fluid on board. But I think just rotating between everyone, definitely making sure no one's dying out on the field.
But that's the good thing. If you are struggling out on the field, you don't have to stay out there and suffer. You can come off. But obviously, hopefully, it won't be as bad as we think.
No.
That's
what we expected. 35 degrees, is it?
Yeah, but the only thing that did sort of throw us a little bit is that last year the 2020 World Cup was in Australia at about the same time of year, and some of the games in Sydney were rained off. And obviously we're not expecting to go there and have rain, so it may, but at least that means maybe it won't be as hot as we were expecting. But in a way, I'd almost prefer it was super hot, because we've also got a lot of free time and a lot of holiday.
Yeah, exactly.
We want a bit of nice weather, don't we? But I'd have to say it would be the most, after 4 years of work and all the money we've all put into this and all the time and effort, it would be the most heartbreaking thing for the world. Can you imagine if we went out there and it's rained off? That would just about be the worst thing.
Yeah.
I would rather get battered in every game.
100%.
I would rather go out there and get slaughtered in every game.
You said it now, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, but there's nothing we can do if that happens. I don't know what the WCG have in place if there's another ground.
Yeah.
I don't really know. But we haven't really spoken about it because we don't want to curse.
No.
But I mean, obviously, we'll hope that that doesn't happen. So, the sun, I mean, it's just the more you think about it this holiday, the sun, Sydney, the city, the cricket we're going to be a part of, the stuff we're going to do off the pitch, the parties, all the fun we're going to have. How do you quantify this as within your own life? Because a lot of our players would say this is probably going to be the best thing they do.
Yeah.
And then obviously, apart from some people say obviously having kids, getting married, and all these kind of things. But aside from those sort of life events, this will be the best sort of social thing we do in our lives.
Yeah.
Where does that sit with you? Would that be?
It's
is that a fair comment?
I think it is probably definitely the best thing that I will do. It's a one in a lifetime. You know what I mean?
It really is. I mean, well, hopefully it's not. Hopefully you can go there and do it again. But there is every chance it is a once, and we have to accept the reality that this might be the one for us. There might not be another. And even if there is another, there's only one first. There's only one first time to do it, and the first time is always the best.
And you want to make it memorable. I think that's the main thing.
And it is just going to be. So put this in context of where this would sit in your head then. So how would you feel coming back with, say, a winner's medal in one of those tournaments, and obviously having played well yourself? Where would that sit in your life? I mean, is that something you kind of just come back, forget about it, move on, or would you dwell on it, think about it?
I think that would be on
par. What would it mean to you?
With my graduation. I think it'd be up there.
On par?
On par with
I reckon
graduation.
Smashes the graduation. Oh,
I was pretty happy.
Well, the only reason I say that actually is because the graduation is, I presume you did a 3-year degree.
Yeah.
Well, we've been planning this for 4 years.
Yeah.
So you can't even tell me this because of all the time and effort. So we've got one up on this actually. So I'd say this is better than a graduation. Yeah. I mean, is there anything you've done in sport or anything you think you may do in sport in the future that could even compare?
No, I genuinely don't think there could be. Unless
it really is.
No. Yeah.
So this is a big deal for you.
Massive thing, yeah. Definitely. The biggest thing I've done in sport. 100%.
And how will it be sharing that? Is Anthony, would it be fair to say, is Anthony your like, sort of best mate? Or,
yeah.
Like in life outside of cricket as well? So what would it mean sharing that moment with him? Does that sort of even enhance it, make it sort of better?
Definitely. I think that would just make it so much better. It'd be insane.
Yeah, it's such a great thing to have like your sort of closest mate.
And have the memories there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you'll get to know the rest of the team and have a party with the rest of us as well. But obviously having your best mate there, it just gives it an extra incentive, doesn't it? An extra kick, and again, even if we lose, that's still the case. But if we win, the party will just be a bit better.
100%.
It'll just be a bit
just that little bit.
And you mentioned obviously you make Australia favourites for this series. So on a sort of more serious cricketing question, what do you think we would need to do to try and maybe level the playing field as much as we can? What can we do? Obviously they've got the advantage of more years experience, the venue, the weather, all this kind of stuff. What do you think we can do to try and level the playing field and just try and close that gap a little bit?
I think just putting the work in. I think just the effort, the training sessions. I think studying what they've got to offer, and you know, maybe a bit of analysis on where they're weak, and you know, targeting that, and we all know beforehand. I think just that'll be a big thing, and I think that will help us out a lot.
So very much preparation.
Preparation is key.
Is going to be the crucial part of it, and obviously we're going to train as much as we can before we go.
Yeah.
And I presume you'll be a part of all the sessions now. The graduation's done. You've got the time. Come and train with us. Where do you see yourself being there? Because obviously quite new to it, one training session in at the minute, and you mentioned you felt okay with the bat, a little bit maybe nervous with the ball.
Yeah.
Where do you think you'll be by the time we go? If we had, say, 7 or 8 more training sessions, where are you hoping, what kind of mindset, your technique, your game, where are you hoping to be when we get on that flight?
I think just feeling confident, you know, I feel like being on the plane and knowing that I can go in there and, you know, do a job for the team with the bat, and that definitely just like feeling confident in myself, I think is where I'm trying to be.
So are you the kind of person who sets targets? Will you be out there thinking, I want to get X amount of runs, or I want to make X amount of scores, or is it more, I want to make an impact on the game that I'm in, the moment that I'm in?
I think it's more
the moment. Are you a person? Or?
I wouldn't say so. I think it's more the moment, you know, like if I realise how many runs we've got to get, you know, I think it's more that. Like, it's not really like individual for me. Like,
so you're not going out there thinking, I want to get, say, 250 runs and average 40 or something. You're not thinking in those terms, no.
I'm thinking team, we're going to win this, that's what I think.
So very much then, I would get the feeling you're a moments player. And it's maybe, are you the kind of player who struggles to maybe get into it if the game's a bit boring or a bit one-sided? Are you the type who, the bigger the game and the more important the moment, that's when you want to be in it?
Yeah, and I think that's why I'm so excited for this, is because it's such a big moment. You know,
it is for all of us.
I think that's
and I think the Aussies will probably agree it's the biggest thing they've had there as well. So it is just matters so much to everyone who's put so many years into this.
Yeah.
And I like that attitude because that's similar to Ricky. Ricky is another player the same who Ricky can get a bit bored if things are winning too easily, losing too heavily, not much, bit quiet, maybe whatever. Ricky gets a bit bored.
That's similar to me, yeah.
But then as soon as something happens and suddenly it's really close and it's really tight and every ball matters, he comes alive in them minutes. And obviously you won't have met, but another of our domestic players, Maguire, is the same as that. Who do you know from our channel? Have you watched any of our videos? You mentioned the WCG. How have you been with our channel?
I remember seeing like...
Ours is a lot newer. Really.
Yeah, a few compilations, and I remember like seeing Ricky took a wicket. There we go, got it out. And I remember, so just a few compilations of wickets I saw. On your page.
Yeah, and how have you found our page? Because obviously ours is not at the level of theirs. They've got first and foremost a better venue. And no disrespect to the venues we use, brilliant places, have been fantastic.
Because ours are more indoor, aren't they?
Yeah, and again because of the weather, because of the budget, we don't have a place we can just use. What do you make of the difference between the two videos and from what you've seen? I mean,
I think it's great quality. Like the videos that you've been taking. I think obviously the quality is on the up. Coming to the page, like it's getting
I'm not sure if you've seen some of our older videos. If you see the older ones and then look at the newer ones, you can see they've got some. I personally can't stand watching the older videos now because they've improved so much in such a short space of time that the first videos we put out just. When you watch them now, they just seem dreadful to me. And at the time, they felt good. And they felt like we were doing really well. I can't watch it.
So you've taken the videos out the whole time? You've been the cameraman for the whole...
Yeah, and the editor as well. So I make them at home on a computer as well. And I look at some of the ones I made back in the day and I think, at the time, I'm thinking, that's a good video. I'm really happy with that. And then I go back and watch it now and think, oh my God.
Oh dear, how did I post that?
What are we doing? And that's just part of learning. Same as when you're a player, obviously you learn things with the bat and the ball as you go along and you get better. It's the same with that kind of stuff as well. And like I say, without saying too much, there are hopes of a venue. Hopes, nothing confirmed yet.
Big things coming.
We certainly hope so. And you'll be a part of that with us. You're on the journey, which is going to be fast. How would you find that? Obviously, you've not really had the experience of playing at any of our indoor venues.
No.
Does that appeal to you, or if we had our own venue like the WCG, like they have in the garden, what would be better for you?
What, indoor or outdoor?
Yeah, so sort of an indoor, say, sports hall or something that we've played in, or something like the WCG if we had our own there.
I prefer the outdoor, I think, just, I think
that's probably right. I think most people would say the same.
Outdoors, yeah.
And if we had our own venue, that opens up so much for us, because we can start doing more games. Obviously weather dependent, but it will cost us less money if we're not paying for venues every time. We can do them on days that we want rather than whatever days are available. And I think it just looks better. It just looks better as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that's the plan.
Their venue looks insane.
It is brilliant. It is. I'm really excited to go there. I mean, it looks fantastic. They've got a proper pitch. I don't know if you know this, but they're I'm not sure if it's their actual wicket. It might just be the outfield, the grass, but they've got turf from the SCG, the Sydney Cricket Ground. The actual SCG. I'm not sure if it's the actual wicket. I think it might just be the outfield.
Yeah.
But it's all SCG turf. It's all proper like Test match international turf.
How have they got that?
I don't know how they got that. I think it maybe have come from one of their sponsors. Maybe knows it, because they've got some really good, well-connected sponsors. They've done so well for themselves, the WCG. And I think they know someone who knows someone who knows someone kind of thing, and they've got a bit of the turf there. So we will technically be playing on the SCG and the WCG at the same time.
Wow.
Which is pretty wild. So we're almost at the close here. So what we'll do to just finish up, and that's gone quite quick. That's almost a whole hour already there. So we'll just close up by giving you a chance to say anything you want to say, because we don't know how much camera work there's going to be for everybody before we go. Is there anybody who's really helped you get ready for this trip? Anything who's helped you either financially or socially or emotionally? Just anybody you want to thank, anybody you want to shout out. You've got sort of 2 minutes left here. If there's anything you want to say, this will be a good time. I want to say thank you to Ricky, of course, for bringing me in. Big thank you to Alex for helping me out and doing all of this for the club. So yeah, definitely you two. Massive thanks to you. Anthony as well for bringing me in. You were the link. So without you, then I wouldn't be here. Exactly, simple as that. I wouldn't have found out about it. So yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, I thought you were going to say like family. I don't think your family will be happy when they see this. You might want to turn the video off before they see that. And then,
big shout out to the family then.
There you go, well done. You guys are an afterthought, well done. And then just finally, we will close as we close all of these podcasts. Stare down the barrel of that camera, get your best game face on. Any message for the Aussies and WCG before we come? Let's finish up. This is Conor Arnold talking at the WCG.
WCG, Backyard Cricket England are coming for you and we're going to win. Bring it on.
Yes, there we go. It has been a pleasure, Conor. Thank you so much for doing this with us and joining us. Join us again next time when we'll speak to the latest player announcement. Whoever's up next, we'll have their interview in full with them as well. In the meantime, stay safe, stay well, enjoy your summer wherever you are in the world, and we'll see you next time on Backyard Cricket England.